get splits on the eye of the hook, and you'll get tears by the hook just from fish biting it. So these are some of the normal tears that we get. You can see the bass fuzz that we get from the baits getting bit. There's another normal tear. This is where the head started splitting open, and you start getting all this wear around the eye of the hook. So what we're going to show you today is how to put these back together so that you can go back and fish them. So the best thing to do is when you see your bait that's ripped, don't wait until it's completely gone. Take it off your line, put on a new bait, keep fishing, and fix this when you get home. So what we do is we take the head off, right? We slowly pinch this, get it past the eye of the hook, and slide the head off.
And that's easier to do when you're using our scent.
Yep, and you're using scent, and you're going to use the scent when you put it back on. So you see this tear right here. So what you'll do is you'll take some of the Mend It. And the reason why we say take it off the head is because if you put it on the head, and while you put the Mend It on while it's on the head, this will just cause it to split open. Because what happens is this contracts, as this dries, it contracts and makes tension on there. So if there's tension on there, it'll split it open. So you want to take it off so it's in its resting state. So what you'll do is you take some of this Mend It, open up the bait a little bit to where it's torn, and be liberal with it. That way you know you got it in there enough. Okay? So you got it on both sides of the cut of the tear. Let it rest. Put some more on top of it. And I like to let it sit for a couple minutes, and I'll go start working on another bait. So while we're waiting on that one to dry, we'll come back to these other ones. We'll go to these other ones.
It dries quick.
Yeah, it dries quick. It takes about 10 minutes. Don't do it under a fan. Don't blow on it. Don't do anything like that, because if you get any wind or any kind of air on it by blowing on it or under a fan, it clouds up. It doesn't stay clear. So you want to make sure that you're doing it in an area that that doesn't have a lot of wind current. So if you're on a party boat, best way to do it is take it down into the galley and mend baits while they're moving from spot to spot. That's what I found to work pretty well for me, instead of trying to do it up topside. And as the boat's moving, you get a lot of wind.
And you don't want the wind blowing across your bottle also. They'll cloud up inside the bottle.
So, yep. So some of these other baits that aren't torn as bad around the head, and it's only torn here, you don't have to take it off. All you gotta do is just put some Mend It on it. Let me open that up so you guys can see it. Take some Mend It. Like I said, be liberal with it. Make sure you cover it. Put it back to its resting state so that both ends are touching, just like that. And then take your Mend It
and just put a top layer on it.
And just put a clear coat on it. And like I said, don't blow on it. Just let it cure on its own. Okay. And you can already see that some of that bass fuzz is going away as I take some of it, like a big drop of it, and I just kind of drop it on there and then just kind of smooth it out. That bass fuzz goes away.
And what he means by bass fuzz, the fuzz the bait gets from the teeth of the bass.
So if you look at this bigger jig, you can see how it's got that fuzz around it. Okay. And so another tear that we get are the ones that split on the head as you hit the rocks, or just the fish bite it, or they're wiggling around and they put tension on the head and it just causes it to split. It's plastic, so it's not going to be, overly strong, but you can still fix that. So there's a split right here. You can see that, and all you gotta do is take your Mend It. Okay, make sure you get enough in there. I put a pretty big drop in there so it kind of fills the gap a little bit, and it also gives it a nice coat as you're mending it. And you may have to go over your bait a couple times, depending on how bad the bass fuzz is. But if you just do a little bit, and just to get it to close up again, you should be okay. So let that cure for a minute. So that's what I do. And what I do is when I take the heads off, I try to keep my baits together, because that head and that body were tuned together at the point of assembly. So you want to make sure that you're putting the same head back on with the same body. Same thing with these bigger baits. You can see some of the cracking. It's not as pretty. So what you'll do is you'll squeeze it. Make sure, because when you squeeze it, you don't want to pull the eyes off. So what you want to do is squeeze it enough to get it past the eye of the hook, so you don't rip the bait any more than what it is. Okay, and just slide it off. And we'll try and clear up some of this bass fuzz. And like I said, be pretty liberal with it. And it looks like you're using a lot, but you really aren't. And cost-wise, you look at it, it costs about 5 cents to repair a bait, okay? You can do about 50 baits. So just think of how much money you're saving by not having to buy more baits right away, but you're still gonna get bit with a bait that you were already getting bit with. So you can see how that bass fuzz is starting to go away already. So it'll take a couple coats maybe, like I said, depending on how bad it is. You just kind of let that cure. You can see some of the splitting here that's starting to happen when the fish bite it. I'll turn this over and we can clear coat that. And you can take a look at that.